Hello everybody and welcome to Computerized Accounting. I'm Professor Quinn and this video is going to serve as a little bit of an orientation to Blackboard and how we're going to be using it throughout the semester. So when you first log into Blackboard, you're actually going to be brought to this announcements page. And every week on Monday, I will actually send out an announcement with reminders of what's due that current week. Those will be posted here under that announcements tab. And it will also be emailed directly to your Northern Essex email address. So please make sure you're using and checking your Northern Essex email frequently throughout the semester, as that is where I'll be sending important reminders and announcements and communicating with you. It will first direct you to come to this Read Me First section where you're going to find a lot of very important information. So during the semester, we're going to be using a textbook called QuickBooks 2015, a complete course. It is available in the campus bookstore as well as online. And this textbook comes with a free version of QuickBooks that you can register onto your personal computer, and it'll be good for a full 140-day trial after you register it. Please note that it does not work on a Mac computer. However, we have downloaded QuickBooks onto the computers in the Business and Accounting Academic Center in C201 on the Haverhill campus. If you're having any issues in terms of registering your trial or you're having issues getting to the campus, please let me know and we can try to work something out. Before you get started, there's some very important things that you need to keep in mind. Number one, this is a completely online class, so please make sure you're paying very close attention to all of the due dates and times. I have provided you a printable calendar below for you to be able to help yourself stay on track, so make sure you're paying attention to that. You will have 2 assignments that are due each week. I always tell my students that are in online classes, the best thing for you to do is to really set aside time every week as if you had to go to class to work on this course. So it will designate certain times when you're not doing work or you're not with your family. That's really carving out some designated time for this class. Otherwise, it'll be quick to fall behind. I do not accept late homework quizzes or tests. It is your responsibility to manage your time properly and make sure that all of your assignments, quizzes, and tests are handed in on time. However, I do know that things can come up, so I allow every student 2 extensions on homework assignments during the semester. These extensions do not apply to the quizzes, the tests, or the final project, only to your homework assignments. So the end of chapter questions or the end of chapter problems. In order to receive the extension, you have to email me before the due date and time of the assignment has passed, and you will automatically receive the 24-hour extension on that assignment. I have removed the Blackboard email link from Blackboard in our course. I have done that because I would like to get back to my students as soon as possible. And if you email me using that Blackboard email link, it actually doesn't go into my NECC email address, and therefore I don't see it until I log into Blackboard. So please make sure you just use my email address that is provided right here for you, as well as in the syllabus, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Under the My Grades link over here, you will find all of your grades for this semester. After I grade any of your problems, your end of chapter problems that you're going to be doing in QuickBooks, I will be providing you feedback as well. So please make sure you go to my Grades link, you look at the grade that you got, and you look at the feedback, because anything that was done incorrectly, I have guided you into how to fix it so that your next chapter will be done correctly, because the chapters build on each other. So please make sure to make those corrections by looking at that feedback under the My Grades link. Under this discussions link over here, you are going to find a discussion post that's going to be available to you all semester, and that is called Have a Question. So if you're sitting at home and you're trying to get through one of the end of chapter problems and there's something that's just tripping you up and it's late at night and you know I won't be able to get back to you right away, you can actually ask one of your classmates. And this is only good for homework assignments. This is not good for a test or quiz or project questions, but you can post it here. And maybe somebody in your class is working on the same homework assignment and they can answer the question for you. And also on the flip side, if you are finding that the chapter that you're working on, you're just kind of really getting in, it's really easy for you, pop in here and see if there's a question that maybe you can answer for one of your classmates. So you have some important tasks that you need to complete in order to get started in the course. First and foremost, you have to watch this orientation video. Again, I'm going to walk you through a lot of detailed information that are going to help you get started in the class. You're going to read carefully the syllabus below as it contains important course policies, and you're going to want to print out that calendar to help you stay on track. You're then going to read and fill out and upload the syllabus agreement form that's below. This is a graded homework assignment. You're then going to complete the syllabus scavenger hunt quiz. This is also a graded homework assignment. And then you're going to use the discussion link below to introduce yourself to the classmates and also to respond to at least 2 of your classmates' introduction posts. And again, this is also a graded assignment. And the last but not least, you're going to go to the course content section, which is the link on the left-hand side of your screen, and make sure you read through the course content section information very carefully, as it has several important items and reminders about the course. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to learn an actual accounting software that is used in the business world. It's a wonderful thing to be able to add to your resume once you graduate here. But always remember that you are acting as the accountant in this situation. So don't just let the system do things for you. So for example, when you enter a journal entry and hit enter, it's going to post it to your ledger. It's going to update your trial balances. It's going to update your financial statements. But don't just take it for face value. Make sure that when you go in and you run an income statement or you run a balance sheet, that you really review it as if you are the accountant working for that business. So for example, if you're looking at your balance sheet and you have a negative asset value, you should know that something's wrong. So if your prepaid insurance is negative, we know that we might have done a journal entry backwards, or we forgot to enter in something properly before we did our adjusting entry at the end of the period. So really take this opportunity to act as an accountant, because really that is what all of you are looking to do once you graduate from here, is to have a position as an accountant. And this is something that you would be doing. So don't, again, just rush through these problems trying to check off the box that you've completed the assignment. Look at this from that accounting perspective as if you were the bookkeeper or the staff accountant or the senior accountant at this company, and see if there are things that pop out to you as being incorrect from what you've already learned in all of your previous accounting courses. That is really going to help you also identify where you might have made errors before you end up submitting your assignment to me. So down here you will find the syllabus and the printable calendar, so please make sure to read through those carefully. This is the printable calendar. You will again see that you have 2 assignments due each week. The first one is due on Wednesdays, and it's the end of chapter questions. Those end of chapter questions are the ones that you will see at the end of the chapter in your textbook. They are true and false, multiple choice, fill in the blank type questions. And these are actually going to be submitted through Blackboard, and I will show that to you in a minute. When you submit these through Blackboard, I do go through everybody's submission after the due date has passed and update anybody's grade for things like a misspelled word or something like that. So don't panic if you submit it and you realize that you misspelled something and you lost points because of that. I do add those back in. Again, I go in the day after the due date. So in this case, I'd go in on a Thursday, review everybody's submitted assignment, and update for those mistakes. On Thursdays, you have your end of chapter problems. End of chapter problems are going to be the QuickBook items that you are actually going to do. So for chapters 1 through 4, you are going to be using the same QuickBook file, and you are going to do the entire accounting cycle for a service business. Chapters 5 through 7, you're going to do the entire accounting cycle over, but you're going to be doing it for a merchandising business. So these end of chapter problems, at the end of your chapter, you will see that there is an end of chapter problem, and there's steps for you to complete in the QuickBooks file. And then you will be uploading to me in Blackboard your actual QuickBooks file that I'll be going through and grading for you. So again, you see that you have 2 assignments due each week. You can get ahead in the class. You get to decide when it makes sense for you to work on these assignments. So if the weekends are when you have the most time, do your work on the weekends. If certain nights you have available, do that on the nights. Or if daytime while your kids are at school is the best time for you to do your work, do it then. But again, carve out time every single week when it makes sense for you to get these assignments done. And again, if you know that you have a very busy week coming up, let's say during this week because it's school vacation and your kids are going to be off, you can actually get those assignments done early. So you can get all, let's say, chapter 4 and the quiz and test due over the weekend and have nothing due that week. So really pay attention to this calendar, print it out, and make sure you are staying on track with your assignments. For the syllabus, at the top is all of my contact information. Just because this is an online class doesn't mean that you can't come see me for extra help or email me for extra help. I'm definitely available to help you throughout this course, so make sure to utilize that. My office hours are here, my office location, my phone number, and my email address. I'm definitely available on email more frequently than I'm sitting in my office, so email is usually the fastest way to get in touch with me. You'll find here all the information regarding the textbook that you'll need. The prerequisite for this course is that you have had to pass Accounting 102 and CIS 110, which is Computer Applications, with a C or better. So please make sure you've met both of those requirements. If you haven't, please withdraw from this class and re-register for one of these classes that you need. Otherwise, you will be dropped from the class. So just make sure you have those taken care of. Emails, please make sure again that you're using your NECC email account. I will not email you on a personal email address, and please do not email me using your personal email. The reason I say that is many times students have emailed me from their personal email addresses and it went into my spam folder and I didn't even see it. So please make sure you're communicating with me because I'm going to be communicating with you through your NECC email. In terms of your grades, your homework assignments, so those end of chapter questions and end of chapter problems are going to count for 15% of your grade. Your quizzes are going to count for 15%. You're going to have 3 during the semester. The comprehensive project that's going to be done by the end of the semester counts for 25% of your grade and takes a significant amount of time. So you'll notice in the calendar, I have given you several weeks to actually complete that comprehensive problem. Test number 1 and 2 also count for 15% each. These tests 1 and 2 are done in QuickBooks, and again, they take a significant amount of time, so do not wait to the last minute to go in here and start your exams. Test number 3, also the final 15% of your grade. This is a cumulative final, and it's true, false, multiple choice type questions. Below, you have your test schedule, so when you have to submit those assignments to me. Again, here I remind you that it does take a significant amount of time to complete both of those tests and that final project. So please do not wait to the last minute in order to work on those. Once you've read through the entire syllabus, you're going to come down here. You're going to click right here where it's a Word document. You're going to type in your name and date, and then you're going to click on this blue syllabus agreement form link, and you're going to follow the directions to upload that syllabus agreement form to me. Here is where you'll take the syllabus scavenger hunt quiz, and you'll click right here and it will link you into our discussion to introduce yourself to your classmates and then respond to some of your classmates' posts. Over here, you see a link called QuickBook Tutorial Videos. So these are several videos on various topics that if you are getting stuck on something when doing your homework in QuickBooks, you can come here and watch a short video and it will walk you through how to properly, for example, create an invoice in QuickBooks. So utilize these if you're getting stuck on something because they can be very useful. Under the discussion link, again, you'll be introducing yourself to the class so you can get through it here as well as that link under the Read Me First section. If you have a question, again, you can use this link here or you can respond to one of your classmates. And down here, I have something called Passing On Success Strategies. So you'll notice that there's already 8 posts in here. Those 8 posts are from students who have taken this course previously and that are leaving their best piece of advice to you of how to be successful in this course. So take a moment, read through those, see what they're saying as the best way to be successful. And throughout the semester, if there's something that you'd like to add, you can add something to this as well so that we can pass it on to the next group for next year. So take advantage of those as well. Under course content, that is where you're going to find all the chapter modules. So each chapter has a module set up that will contain information, resources, can contain files, and assignments for each chapter. There's a total of 21 homework assignments, 3 quizzes, 2 tests, 1 final project, and 1 final exam that you're going to be working on this semester. This is very important. There are 2 QuickBook files per chapter. There is a practice file that you can use to practice the steps and follow along with what you're seeing done in the chapter. So you can use that. That can be very helpful to you. It's not something you're ever going to submit to me. So that is there purely for your practice. So again, you can follow along with what you're seeing done in each chapter. Then there's the end of chapter problem file. That is the one that you're going to enter the transactions in that are at the end of chapter problem, at the end of each chapter, and that is the one that you are going to submit to me as your homework assignment. Also, as I mentioned before, you are going to be using the same file for several chapters. So for example, the computer QuickBooks file is the practice file that you're going to use in chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to open that file one time, the computer file, and you're going to build that information in from chapters 1 through chapter 4. This allows you to, again, enter the entire accounting cycle for one service company. So you never want to start with what we call an empty file for chapters 2, 3, or 4. You want to open up that file that you already entered that chapter 1 information into to work on for chapter 2, and so on and so forth. Same goes for the end of chapter file. So for chapters 1 through 4, you are going to be using a file called the landscape file. So once you open the landscape file for chapter 1, that is the file that you are going to use for chapters 2, 3, and 4. You're going to build information in chapter 1. You're going to add into it information for chapter 2, add in information for chapter 3, and finally for chapter 4. That is why it's vital that once I have graded one of the chapters, that you go into your My Grades link and look for the feedback to see if there's anything that you need to change before you move on to the next chapter. Because if you've made an error, for example, in the landscape file in chapter 2, that needs to be corrected before you go ahead and start chapter 3. So please do not move on until you've got that feedback from me, because if you don't fix an error in the previous chapter, it's going to affect those future chapters. Also, since this is not something that you're going to be handing into me literally in a class, when the book says to print a report, I don't want you to print it. I want you to use the memorize button. And that is going to memorize the item that you just did. So for example, if you ran a trial balance, you're going to hit the memorize button and then you're going to name it. And please be very careful about naming those. So for example, trial balance chapter 2, because you're probably going to have to run a trial balance in chapter 3 and a trial balance in chapter 4. So you want to make it very clear which trial balance is relating to which chapter. So be very careful when you are dealing with naming those memorized reports. You're going to download the QuickBook files that you'll need, and that's shown to you in chapter 1 of your textbooks of how to actually get the files that you'll need throughout the semester. QuickBooks is probably going to ask you to create a password for your file. Please use capital P and then password 123 as your password. That way, when you send it to me, it's easy for me to access. So please be very careful when you're submitting that password for your file. If you're having some issues downloading or dealing with anything with QuickBooks, there's some information on how to actually get to the QuickBooks Support Center. Down here, again, you're going to see a folder or a module for every chapter. So for example, in chapter 1, you're going to see some PowerPoint information with regards to installing QuickBooks, to register QuickBooks, some lecture notes for chapter 1. Here is where you're just going to click on this link to answer the end of chapter questions. You're going to submit those. You'll get a grade for them. Again, I remind you here, I do review everybody's homework assignments. So again, if you misspelt a word, I will add back any points for those types of errors. Once you're ready to upload your end of chapter problem, you're going to click on this link and you're going to browse your computer, find where you saved your QuickBooks file, and upload it to me. Please note that you should actually be sending me the QuickBook file that ends in .qbw. Please don't send the one that's .qbb or .qbw.tn or any of those. So make sure your file extension is just .qbw, nothing after that. And then you'll submit it to me and it will upload to me. Again, every chapter has a module, including one for your quizzes and your tests. So just be mindful of that. And again, you can get ahead in the class. So if you know that you have a busy week coming up, take advantage of that opportunity. If you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with me. I look forward to working with all of you this semester.